How to get into the robot business without building robots. The robot industry is exploding, but the truth is you don't need to be an engineer or build a robot from scratch to start a robot business. I'm Philip English, aka RoboPhil, and I've spent the last decade in this space. In this video, I'm going to break down the 5 proven ways to start your own robot business, even if you have zero technical background. Robots are projected to become a $3 billion industry by 2030, and most of the robot growth isn't from inventing robots, but by bringing them into the real world. Okay, number 1, which is one I've done, is become a robot reseller / robot distributor. So what exactly is that? So essentially you partner with a manufacturer and then sell their robots to customers either within your region or within your niche. So a region could be in the UK or America or somewhere in Europe, or it could be a niche such as healthcare, logistics or warehousing. So those are the ways that we normally do it. Every manufacturer needs salespeople, distributors and integrators to get their products around the world. So this is when they want to reach new markets and sell more products. So this is why they actively look for resellers and distributors and people they can work with to sell the robots into local markets. So this is obviously where you're not inventing a new robot. You haven't got to spend the time in development to build your own system or anything like that. You simply go out into the manufacturing space, see what's available, see what you like, see what you want to work with. And this could be down to a specific niche, or it could be down to robots that could be useful in your area. So you don't need to reinvent a new robot. You just need to have a look and see what is out there. So the way I would recommend doing this is find one product, find one robot that you like, and potentially get a demo unit of the robot, or if not, at least get brochures of the robots and get all the information you need so you can present it to the potential customers. And then you can go out there, so in the restaurant field, the warehouse field, the care homes or healthcare, pick your niche, go out and do the presentation either with a real robot or with just slides, and see if you can get interest within those businesses. So that's exactly how I got started. This would have been almost 15 years ago now. I had a look at the market. There wasn't all the different types of robots you have these days. The only one that I could afford was essentially a robot vacuum cleaner. So like the iRobot ones and the Roombas that you've seen today. These products used to be $2,000 to $3,000. And I thought, well, how can I sell this? And I thought, well, how did people used to sell Hoovers? And they used to go door to door. So that's what I tried. I bought a demo unit, spent about $2,000 or $3,000 on it, and essentially went banging door to door trying to sell these robots. I thought, unfortunately, with little success, trying to sell something that was essentially the same price as a laptop back then to clean the floor. These robots, obviously these days, you could probably pick up for a few £100 for the same type of technology. So if we just look at in the service industry space, which is the space that's really starting to grow for robots now, you could probably pick up a robot for $5,000 to $20,000 depending on your budget and what you can afford. Within those pricing, you can earn anywhere between 20 to 30% commission back from the manufacturer for actually selling these products, depending on obviously on the volume and everything like that as well. Some of the manufacturers will offer you exclusive regional distribution rights. So again, I'm based in the UK. If it's a manufacturer from China or manufacturer from the USA, if I'm the first person that they're speaking to bring it into the UK, they're not speaking to anyone else. Sometimes they give you exclusive rights. Sometimes it doesn't work as easy as that, and you have to buy a certain amount of stock to actually get those rights. So you have to buy a lot of stock to come into the UK. But if you're just starting out, again, you don't need to buy a robot. You can just start with a connection, an agreement that you're going to sell the robot. And then essentially you go out there with slides to sell the robot and start from there. If you have a bit more budget, or if you have a team of people that want to put some money into it and buy a bulk of robot stock, then that could be another way to get exclusive distribution rights for your region or sector. A tip from my side, I'd probably stick to one particular sector. So if you're interested in healthcare robots, stick to healthcare. If you're interested in restaurant robots or retail robots, stick to that. If you're going in the warehouse or logistics space, stick to that. There's so many different industries. You don't want to spread yourself thin and not become an expert. You want to focus on particular niche, particular product, and focus down that line until you're successful, and then have a look at expanding out afterwards. The great thing about being a reseller distributor is then you can then start to build and add on your own services. It could be installation services, training services, but you can essentially start to wrap around your own packages around the product, which is obviously going to bring you more income into your business. So the next option is to become a robot consultant slash automation advisor. So what exactly is this? So this is where you help companies figure out which robots they should use, where it fits into their workflow, and how to integrate with minimal disruption. So the advantage of this is then you're vendor agnostic, so you don't care which manufacturer that you're working with. Your job is to solve the problem for the business. The great thing about this is that most business owners are curious about robotics, but don't actually know where to start, where to look, and which robots to actually start with. So as a consultant, it's your job to come in and advise and look at the problems and essentially advise them of the different technologies that are out there and have a look at different solutions that may work for them. So your job is to be the person who answers questions like, which robot should we use? Which problem can a robot solve? How will it work with our current staff and setup? Now this type of role and who it suits, it actually helps if you actually have some sort of background or industry beforehand. So if you're from the logistics industry, the food production industry, the hospitality industry, you probably already have a good understanding of the problems that the businesses face and potential solutions and the best robot matches that are going to fix those solutions. Unlike the manufacturers who have built a product to do a certain task, they won't know the detail and how to best use those robots within that industry. And if you're from that industry, then you'll have a much higher level of understanding of how to best implement these robots into the business. So a real world example for this is that I've consulted for warehouse businesses before. They were having a lot of issue with staff turnover, the retiring workforce, so their main staff leaving, as well as sort of generational gaps where they had to keep on retraining the staff. So I came in there, we recommended an array of different robots that could potentially help them significantly cut with the savings and costs and improve the business. And this is where I went in there and advised certain sort of robots, but at the same time I listened to and get feedback from the teams for how best to utilize these robots within the business. You really have to work with the company to find the right product and make sure it works well within the business and doesn't end up a robot that just sits there in the corner and everyone's scared to use it. To go to the numbers of it, consulting day rates in robotics typically range from $500 to $1,500 a day, depending on the niche and the value that you're bringing to your business. And if you remember, the global warehouse automation market alone is projected to hit $64 billion by 2030. So there's a lot of potential in a lot of different industries for consultants to come in and support the businesses. A tip from me is to position yourself as a robot translator, someone who bridges the tech and the business and hopefully merges it together in a consultative way that's going to help the business grow and support and maintain. Another tip you could do is build certain playbooks for certain industries. So again, if you're in the care home industry, you can essentially have the top 5 robots for care homes or some sort of audit that you can do for every care home. And they have to go through an assessment, and then from that information you can guide them towards one of the 5 or help them with your product within the business. Number 3 is a robot trainer or implementation specialist. So what's this? So you train the staff on how to use a robot, offer onboarding, setup and basic support once it's deployed. So this is one of the most overlooked needs within the robot industry. We've seen a lot of robots go into businesses, but what we see, or what I've seen, is that sometimes without the proper training or implementation of the robot, the robot has the potential to not being used as efficiently as it could be. So this is a good place to be for training up people and continue to train up the team, especially when new software updates and features come onto the robot. If the company has literally just brought the robot in and you've only got a manual or a basic app, this can obviously be very intimidating for the staff. So again, robot training would be essential so the staff can actually use the product correctly and safely. If you come in and be the person that guides them from how to basically get the robot going, set up and installing it and working it, then you will become an essential element to their business. And again, they'll be looking to come back to you to keep the robots working efficiently and keep the staff trained. Type of services that you can offer with this is on-site remote training sessions, train the trainer programs, quick start guides, walkthrough videos, and annual support packages within that. To give you a real world example, I've had hotels and shopping centres bring me in just to train the staff on how to use a delivery robot. Without that, the robots ends up just sitting there gathering dust and not getting used efficiently by the staff. Rough numbers around this is you can charge $500 to $2,000 per training package depending on the robot complexity and client size. The global demand for robot field support is getting bigger and bigger, so it's a good place to be from a consultative point of view. A tip around this is record your training once and then use it across multiple clients. This is actually where RoboPhil YouTube channel came from. We're working within the school environment, bringing in a new type of robot for the actual children to learn about coding and programming. The trouble that we found is that the teachers didn't have enough time to actually learn how to use the robot correctly to actually teach the kids. So RoboPhil actually started from an education point of view, where I was doing educational videos that could be played in school as a YouTube video so the kids could learn how to use the robot as well as the teachers could learn at the same time. So the recorded training once allowed us to support multiple schools once we'd put the products in there. Once you're known as a robot consultant, then you can also work with potential resellers or new manufacturers as well to support them bringing new robots and have a much more of a recurring income basis by working both with the customers and the resellers to support different product lines. So number 4 is start a robot integration or installation service. So what is this? So you set up robots on behalf of the manufacturers or end users, configuring the hardware, connecting it to the customer's systems like Wi-Fi, tablets or cloud software, and making sure it works within their environment. Many robots these days are plug and play-ish, but not quite. So the manufacturer may even sell directly into a customer, but they will need someone to go in there and do the integration work so everything works within the business. So this is where this type of business stands. It means you haven't got to buy a product, you haven't got to buy a demo unit, you essentially work alongside the manufacturer, or you're brought in by the end user to actually deploy these technologies. Some businesses won't want to deal with the technical stuff, and robot companies often don't have local field teams. So again, this is where this integrated business idea fits. You become essentially the local expert who helps get robots up and running faster and smoother than a do-it-yourself installation. So services that you can offer with this: site surveys, assess the Wi-Fi strength, floor plan, the obstacles, robot setup, positioning network setup, linking to payment services and CRM, customer configuration such as language, voice assistance and branding, general testing and training, making sure everyone knows how the robot works, and then on-site support packages, so recurring revenue for actually making sure the robots stay up and running. The numbers around this can be quite vast, depending on the type of robot that you're actually installing, anywhere from like $1,000 fee just for basic training all the way up to £50,000 per project for full integration. There's a demand for more robot integration in, again, healthcare, warehousing and hospitality. ABB research is over 6 million robots will be installed annually by 2026, with most requiring some form of integration. Tips around this is you partner with robot brands that don't have UK integration teams. You could be their field rep essentially. Also build a checklist or workflow for repeatable installs. And then there's also the ability to upsell support and services around the product as well. Number 5, become a robot intrapreneur. Innovate from inside your company. So what exactly is this? You already work inside the business or industry and you notice areas where robots could save time, cut costs or improve operations. Rather than quitting or starting a new business, you become an intrapreneur, someone who pitches and leads a robot project inside the existing company. The great one about this one is that you're already inside the system, so you understand the daily pain points and the real opportunities that could lie for robotics. Your company likely hasn't explored automation, so you could be the first mover within this field, so it gives you a great advantage there. And the other good thing about this is you don't need to build your own robot. You propose bringing in proven robot solutions and you lead the robot rollout internally, focusing on getting the tasks done that you want for your specific niche. So an example of this, so let's say you work in a hotel and you see the staff are running around up and down the floors just delivering towels or drinks. You find a robot that can handle those tasks and pitch it to the management as a pilot project with clear cost savings. You just created value, proven yourself, and stepped into the robotics space as a leader. One of the key benefits of this is that you will get funding, resource, and support within your own company to deploy this system, as well as your own learning. You gain experience of managing real robot deployments and how the real life situations end up rolling out, as well as problems that you have with that. And now you've done this, you can build a case study around it, which you can take to other companies and potentially launch your own venture later, because you have the skills and the ability to actually build the robot, put it in the niche. And especially if you come from the niche as well, you're going to be a trusted advisor. And with all the change of robotics and AI, you often get promoted and reposition yourself as the automation expert internally in the business, which is a good place to be for all the new technology that's coming out. A recent McKinsey report shows that 40% of companies want to automate, but lack the internal champions to actually do that. Someone in the business who's going to drive the robot system forward. Sticking to the service industry, the growing rates are going to be 18 to 25% annually. Companies are looking for solutions, not just tech. The tips I'll say around this: start with small projects, one task, one robot, one location, very, very focused. Frame it in terms of ROI, return on investment. Let's say the robot costs $12,000, but replaces $30,000 a year of repetitive labor. Hopefully, if you are getting it from a manufacturer, you can use case studies of similar examples to support your project pitch. This also gives you the time to build a team internally from operations and frontline users as well, so you can have an understanding of what's needed from that perspective. So this would be a great fit for operations managers within businesses, logistic coordinators, frontline leaders in retail, hotel, healthcare, or the factories, and anyone with access to insights and the drive to really improve things within their business. So you don't have to leave your job to get into the robot industry. You can stay exactly where you are and still become the person who brings robots into the world. The entrepreneurship, and it's one of the most powerful ways to future-proof your career. So whether you're a reseller, consultant, trainer, installer, or entrepreneur, there's a way into the robot business without building anything from scratch. Choose the model that fits your strengths and start with one robot, one client, and one idea. Comment below which one of these 5 paths feels most right for you. Thanks for watching. I'm Philip English, aka RoboPhil, and I'll see you on the next one.